Baby, I'm filming.
Oh shit.
Do you want to say something to the people? Do you want to say something to the people in opening?
I never so.
Why are you nervous?
Never.
Okay, it says hi.
Hello.
Okay. Now it's just me and you. Let's forget about him for now. Hi. Welcome. This is always weird because I'm never alone when I film these videos. And besides, I am not confident enough on camera. Baby, I'm so shy. What the fuck? Today's conversation is about self-love versus knowledge of self. And as you can already guess, judging off of my past videos, I have a lot to say about this. Both of them are equally important, but then one is slightly harder and one it requires first practicing the other one before you get to it. So you know how on social media we have all these amazing people and they help us feel connected to them because they are relatable in some shape or form. There's this new wave, and it's not entirely completely new because it's been there for the past couple of years, but I'm coming to the realization after having followed what they say that it's not as easy as it sounds. One, two, those things don't necessarily equate to what has to become self-love, quote unquote self-love. These YouTubers come on here and they show self-love to be buying yourself perfume and taking yourself on vacations and taking yourself on dates, which these things are not bad things. It's just they do not equate to what self-love is, and they're usually external. Let me just say, I do not love myself as much as I should because there's something missing. There's like a foundation. You know how when you build a house, you first have to like lay the foundation? That foundation is shaky. What I found it to be was knowledge of self. Not enough people are preaching getting to know yourself enough. And knowledge of self, no matter what you do on the outside, whether you could wear Dior from head to toe, or you could smell like, I don't know, roses, or you could even be in Italy and still, it won't mean shit, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. It literally needs you to sit down and have a deep conversation with yourself. And not just once, many times. In fact, for the rest of your fucking life. And I mean it. So there's things that you could do to help this process, because it is a very difficult process, like I've already previously mentioned. It is a very difficult process. And I'm thinking of sharing the things that I personally do, because I can only speak from stuff that I've done myself, because obviously those are the only experiences I know. Obviously there's other things that other people do, but then these are the things that I do, okay? So I've always been a writer. I've never written stuff based on myself, things that are inside, deep stuff. It's always about someone else, other people, whatever. What I started to do was write notes, or write literally papers and papers and papers of what I'm thinking. One, it keeps my thoughts in check, so it tracks my thoughts. And two, it lets me know exactly how I feel on the inside. When I read back and I realize, okay, shit, here's the problem. This is the problem. And then it helps me also to like trace back where these feelings and these thoughts come from. So, okay, for instance, you could be having one bad relationship after the next. What? One bad relationship, one after the other. That's what I wanted to say. And you're probably thinking, oh, we should sing loyiwe or whatever. Everyone, especially if you're South African, you think loyiwe. All of these things stem from somewhere. And so writing helps me know where things come from, like where things stem from. So say currently I'm having like a bad friendship or whatever, and you know, I've had a bad friendship before this one. Now I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I go back, realize, oh shit, this is the issue. It also requires you to like go back, reflect on your personal experiences, reflect on your trauma, reflect on your previous relationships with other people, your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, if you grew up with any grandparents around, and if you've had any kind of relationship with them at all. It has to do with also you reflecting on your parents' choices, because partly those choices are the reason why you turned out the way that you turned out. Those the way that they chose to bring you up or raise you, is that what I'm saying? Yeah, raise you is part of the reason why. So sometimes parents do what they can for us, but then sometimes it's not always the best thing down the line. And yes, they may not admit that, but then also it is not their responsibility to come and fix that shit for you. They did what they could. Now it's up to you to kind of like, okay, now I want to change this so that this also can change in my life. What can I use as an example? Okay, I don't like talking about it, but I really have to talk about it. For instance, you just dropped something. Are you lazy to get it?
Nah.
For instance, my mom met my dad long before I was born. They had me. And then that's when my dad became abusive, right? Instead of my mom leaving, she stayed. And I get it. It's for a good reason. Like I said, parents do what they think is best in the moment. You cannot blame them, okay? So she stayed, and I grew up with that because all she wanted was for her daughter to have a father at the end of the day, which is understandable. But then it also created trauma, which she knows about. We've talked about it before. Trauma that I have to deal with now that I'm much older and can actually reflect better and realize what she could have done differently and how my life could have turned out differently. But that's not what I'm going for. What I'm going for is, now that it's happened, what do I do? What do I change? What do I want to see happen better for me, to me? Who do I want to show up as for other people? Who do I want to show up as for myself as well? And then it also helps strengthen my bond with my mom, obviously, because I'm not blaming her for shit that she could have done better. I understand where she comes from, and I understand that some of the work is mine, okay? She has no part in it. Even though she can help, it's all mine to take care of, because essentially the type of woman that I see myself as, say, 10 years from now, has to be something completely different from this girl sitting right here, okay? And for that to happen, I have to get in touch with myself, get to know myself. Obviously, you never get to know yourself 100%. It's like saying you know someone 100%. You don't. But then, especially because as human beings, we like projects in process. Or, yeah. Is that what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Yeah. So, say what am I trying to say? Say right now I think this is the best that I can be currently, but then 10 years from now, that best is I can't comprehend that best. That best would be the best that she can be. Until 10 years from then she'll realize that that's another best that she's reached. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm literally rambling.
It makes sense.
Self-love, as we see it on social media, is not what it actually looks like. That's just what I wanted to say. Yeah, it has less to do with knowing yourself, accepting yourself, getting in touch with yourself. It's shit that you do for other people when you love them, just for yourself. It's like how I have a boyfriend right now. Obviously, if I can, I'd go get him something he likes. It's the same thing that they're saying. It's essentially, get yourself chocolate. Oh, you love yourself. I understand that. That's nice. I love chocolate. Who doesn't love chocolate? I get that. But then, if you still have things that you haven't dealt with, if you still have trauma that you're carrying around in your heart that's weighing heavy in it's gonna show. It's gonna manifest. And you're gonna wonder why certain things just don't change. Certain things just keep reoccurring. Certain things just keep happening to you. But then you wonder why. It's because you haven't dealt with your shit. Okay? You haven't dealt with your stuff. Things that make you cry at night when no one's looking, and that same makeup that you listened to, or rather the same makeup tutorial that you were watching in the afternoon that you followed and had the same makeup look on, and that self-love to you is literally going down with your tears. Did I just switch off this light? It's literally going down with your tears, and your mascara is you're looking ugly. Those things that make you do that at 3 a.m. you haven't dealt with. So no amount of makeup, no amount of clothes, no amount of shoes, no amount of perfume, no amount of vacations that you go on are gonna deal with that. And mind you, whoever that you're going to date, marry, cannot do that for you. Can I just say that? Even if you have a friend group, like I've seen girls get into friend groups and it's not a bad thing, but they cannot do that for you. So it's essentially your own responsibility, irregardless of whether you caused that trauma to yourself. Also, people don't want to admit when they've done shit to themselves. Hence, there's also the whole forgive yourself for stuff gospel going around on social media right now. I get it. But it also comes with getting to know yourself and taking yourself through the necessary steps that you need to take yourself through in order to make progress, in order to forgive yourself, in order to elevate and evolve and become the person that you're meant to be, or better than who you are today. Also, other things that I do to help me. I cry, bitch! Oh my gosh! Guys, please cry. It helps. Please. Okay, do it. Don't depress yourself. Crying can get depressing. But I cry. I write. Guys, don't be like me and avoid it and sleep sometimes. I sleep. I talk about it with people that I trust. My roommate, my boyfriend, my mom. Sometimes my younger sister, depending on how heavy the subject is. Educate them while they're still young type thing. So, yeah. What else do I do? I focus on something I really, really like. And I channel those negative emotions. And something is amazing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I feel so good. I think that's it. There's still going to be more ways, obviously. But then those are the things I do now that I've been doing that help. So now even when I go through... In fact, let me read you something I wrote. Serve as proof. I do write my shit, guys. I do. I'm continuing to write it. Now I write it on my phone, which if my phone were to crash, I won't be able to pull out stuff like this the way I am pulling out stuff on you guys right now. But anyway, let's see. Something... Okay, for instance, here, I wrote a whole... which we'll talk about in another video as well. This is how Muslims are meant to pray. At the time, I was very interested in Islam, and I thought it was one of the most beautiful religions. I still do. One of the most beautiful religions. This is the way you're supposed to pray. This is where I was in life, very interested, wanted to learn how to pray like they do and stuff like that. This was probably early last year. What else can I find? Here I wrote about my first experience after 2-ish years with weed. This just helps me know who the type of person I was then and how much I've changed and where I am. But I'm looking for something more personal. I don't know when I wrote this entry. It reads, I'm not happy. I don't know how old I was. I like to pretend that I am because it is easier. Sometimes I wish I slept in my sleep and never woke up. I get disappointed rather than excited when I'm up. I almost feel like screaming every morning when I flutter my eyes open. Getting out of bed has become a drag. God and Him alone knows why I still awaken. Anybody that knows me probably knows that I'm happy because genuinely I don't show how I feel outside. And that I giggle or goof around a lot. But I only do this so that the next person is relieved of their burdens. I never want anybody else to hurt, not the way I do. Sometimes and only at night I feel the most lonely. I feel lonely because I feel that no one is there for me like I am for them. This was 28 December 2022. I really don't feel like writing. Why write when my brain cells refuse to compute all that led to that cold night in June? When my body shuts down, every time I get up, I melt down. The ground from beneath me clings to the warmth of my feet. I really don't feel like writing because how when my heart plays bowling back and forth because my soul is never sure? Why write when my fingers wobble as I hold my pen? The ink fills up, runs out, and then, to my surprise, no words come out in ink or thought or heart throbs. I really don't feel like writing. I wanna cry! Oh, okay. When did I write this? This is the 17th of November, 2022. Remain seated and try to listen. Try to understand why I operate the way I do. Remain seated and listen to every cry, see every insecurity, stitch up every wound. Remain seated and love on me through it all, through the nightmares and scares, through my immaturity and my lack of growth. See me as more than just a broken doll with knotted hair and empty patches on my scalp. See me as more than what you play with when the world's too quiet. Remain seated and accept me. See through me. I promise I'm not just a sack of walking meat with a bruised center. Okay, love me. I promise I'm lovable, and I promise I care. Remain seated, don't walk out. I can't and won't allow you to abandon me 100th time. Heal me, use your love and compassion to moisturize my cracks, to peel my peels, to caress my cemented skin. Use your love and compassion, patience, to wait long enough to get to my core, to taste my center, to enjoy the sweetness, the softness. My claws are hard. My claws are hard, I admit. But they feel further soft and no one knows. Just me, just you. If you choose to stay, to catch me when I fall, to put stars back into my sky, blood into my veins, oils on my skin, and tenderness back into my character. Remain seated, and I promise I'll remain seated for you. Okay, anyway, yes, please write. It helps so much, and it just gives feelings of nostalgia, and you see how much you've grown, and you understand where I'm going with this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, it's like 20 minutes now. Please do give it a like, and I'll see you in my next video. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah, I enjoyed it. Bye.